Hello, dear friends. Spiritual science represents an attempt to expand our understanding of reality beyond scientific materialism. Opinion piece: Spiritual science, string theory, artistic creation, eco spirituality, sudden inspiration, parallel dimensions, hyperdimensionality, higher consciousness, historical separation, something transcending. We are multidimensional, beyond the physical world, the god of empty spaces, breaking the laws of physics. Let's start. For centuries, science and spirituality seems to be on opposite ends of the spectrum, as if both were the extremes of a path to choose, contradictory to each other and irreconcilable. But not everyone agrees with such a sharp and reductionist separation. It is believed that science should be atheistic and spirituality should not have any trace of reasoning, but this is not the case. To exist in the world, we need knowledge of material science. However, to live well, in the world and in the hereafter, we need material and spiritual knowledge. We have not come here just to exist, but to prosper in life and in the there hereafter. The Ishavasya Upanishad says, matter is dense. We can smell it, taste it, see it, touch it, and hear it. The spirit is subtle, beyond the perception of our senses, but denser matter is sustained by the spirit. When the spirit leaves the body collapses. Definition: Spiritual science is an approach that seeks to integrate scientific knowledge with spiritual perspectives to understand reality and human consciousness. It proposes to overcome the historical separation between science and spirituality, seeking a unified vision of reality, and argues that there is no inherent conflict between science and spirituality, but that both can complement each other. Spiritual science covers different fields of research, such as human consciousness and its connection with higher dimensions, extrasensory perception, and psychic phenomena, spiritual and bioenergetic healing, and the philosophy of esoteric religions and traditions. Authors such as Steve Taylor, Amit Goswami, and Michael Pravika propose new paradigms that integrate science and spirituality. Proponents argue that this approach could resolve paradoxes in quantum physics and other scientific fields. Eco-spirituality represents a significant convergence of environmentalism and spirituality, revealing a deep amalgamation of ecological awareness with personal spiritual quests. Its genesis can be traced to the symbolic relationship between ecological thought and alternative spirituality. Theory: Human consciousness comes from a higher dimension, a scientist claims. When we think creatively of or have eureka moments, we can gain access to a dimension outside our everyday perception, according to the theory. In this way, consciousness has the ability to transcend the physical world in moments of greater lucidity. Michael Pravika, a physics professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, has proposed a controversial theory on the origin of human consciousness. According to Pravika, consciousness is not simply limited to brain activity, but could be connected to hidden dimensions beyond our usual perception. If this theory turns out to be true, we would have to accept not only that some beings could reside outside the physical realm, free from the limitations of space and time, but also that our consciousness could have a similar capacity. Pravika says, Pravika bases his theory on the concept of hyperdimensionality, which suggests that the universe is made up of more dimensions than the four we perceive: height, length, width, and time. According to this idea, human consciousness could access higher dimensions in moments of heightened perception. These connections would occur during activities such as reflection, dreaming, or aesthetic creation. In these states, our mind would synchronize with higher levels, allowing a flow of creativity and ideas that transcend the physical world. Pravika relies on string theory, which posits that all matter and energy is made up of tiny strings vibrating in multiple dimensions. He suggests that these vibrations could explain how consciousness conceives of higher concepts and dimensions. He argues that the human ability to conceive of higher dimensions in mathematics and abstract thought is an indication of this connection to higher planes. This approach has been compared to the God of the empty spaces perspective, where ununderstood phenomena are explained by supernatural interventions. Despite criticism, Pravika remains optimistic about the future of higher dimensional research and its relationship to human consciousness. Peak moments. According to the theory proposed by Dr. Pravika, indeed, during moments of intense creativity or sudden revelations, the so-called eureka moments, our consciousness could access higher dimensions beyond our everyday perception. Pravika suggests that in states of heightened awareness, such as deep reflection, dreaming, or creative activities, our minds could synchronize with higher dimensional levels. This connection would allow a flow of creativity and ideas that transcend the three-dimensional physical world we normally experience. The ability to conceive of higher dimensions in mathematics and abstract thought would be an indication of this connection to higher planes of consciousness. The theory is based on the concept of hyperdimensionality, which posits the existence of multiple dimensions beyond the known ones. Pravika relates this to string theory, which proposes that all matter and energy is composed of strings vibrating in multiple dimensions. These vibrations in higher dimensions could explain how consciousness conceives concepts and realities that transcend the physical. According to this perspective, moments of sudden inspiration or eureka could be instances in which our consciousness managed to briefly break through through the usual dimensional barriers. Artistic, scientific, and philosophical creativity could be understood as a way of accessing and channeling information from these higher dimensions. Difference. Difference between the dream of illusion and higher dimensions by Sarah Adams. Illusion experiences. You feel agitation, irritation, anger, sadness, depression, annoyance, and the need to criticize. Your emotional state depends on external circumstances. You also feel physical symptoms of illness and aging. Higher dimensional experiences. You feel peace, love, harmony, joy, happiness, bliss, and abundance for no reason. Your feeling comes from within and from God's source. You feel healthy, vibrant, and age more slowly. These two experiences are different. The illusion experience is not real, although it feels very real. The higher dimensional experience is the only true reality, is the God source reality. Pearls. Telegrams from JFK Jr. If they if you want a show, we will give it to them. Repeat the phrase. If they want a show, we'll give it to them. It's time to ring all the bells in the world. New York Mayor Eric Adams indicted on federal charges. According to JFK Jr., Princess Diana will be communicating live with him for a special announcement. The two recount the misdeeds that were committed against them over all these years. You'll also hear how they survived and who helped them the most. Saint Germain talks about merging all timelines. The stage is being set for the greatest period of chaos in history, according to Michael Snyder. The Federal Communications Commission's accelerated source patches of 220 radio stations. This year will be the first year since 1958 that the US has not solid oil and gas leases, according to Kevin Kellogg. Things are changing at a very fast pace, according to Jessinger. We've had an eventful week. I'm not sure where things are headed, but I like what will come out of it now that we're at the point of no return. We are on the cusp of having so much happening at once that it will be hard to believe we've gotten to this point and are actually starting to see the fruits of our laborious waiting over the years. Apocalyptic science. The rare spring snowfall leaves vehicles stranded on South Africa roads. Record-breaking typhoon rains flood Tokyo and Honshu, and Italy also, now inundated to the point of causing massive damage to infrastructure. The Kilauea volcano vent begins to erupt again, and a bright comet appears. So, is it a sign in the skies? Economy. The launch of a blockchain-based BRICS payment system could be one of the most significant developments in global finance in recent history. A BRICS member country declared in June that the most important goal of the bloc is to reform the Bretton Woods system. 159 participants will adopt BRICS Pay, a system that dispenses with the dollar in global trade. The blockchain-based payment system is rumored to be launched at the summit in Kazan, Russia, next month. IMF approves $7 billion loan for Pakistan facing economic losses. Japan has experienced 3 decades of stagnation, and the Bank of Japan has helped turn the country into a financial wellness addicted behemoth. It now faces a demographic crisis and inflation. The next big move in gold will be the monetary reset and physical revaluation when the paper market is terminated. What we are seeing now is just small price noise due to significant early investment by non-retail buyers. Europe. In France, the Bureau of the National Assembly approved the procedure to remove Emmanuel Macron. This comes as Macron's disapproval rating has risen to 75%. This may be why Macron is seeking protection from Russia, saying, "We need to think about a new organization of Europe, and then review our ties with Russia and think about peace on this European continent." Also in the UK, the latest opinion poll reveals that Prime Minister Keir Starmer's approval rating has suffered a massive 45 minus point drop since July to a net of minus 26%. The German government of Olaf Scholz is also very unpopular due to the economic crisis. The number of medium and large companies that went bankrupt in the first half of this year increased by 41% compared to the same period last year. Southern Europe gives an economic lesson to the old Franco-German engine. Today, it is Germany and France that are causing distress in the euro. Greece and Portugal are reducing their public debt at the fastest rate in Europe. The economies of the south are growing at a rate 3 times that of the north. The overtaking of Spanish debt by France pending the rating agencies. Madrid is the city that collects the most per inhabitant, and Pamplona the least. Americas. Mexico City experiences a telluric day with several micro-earthquakes. Hurricanes strengthen Helen and John and do not give Mexico a break. Mexicans have fewer children. Births fall by 3.7%. The Bank of the Argentine Nation cannot be privatized, a federal judge determines. Bolivia stops exporting natural gas to Argentina after 18 years. Large geoglyphs discovered in Peru thanks to artificial intelligence. Social Network X delivers documents to the Supreme Court and asks to operate again in Brazil. In Brazil, the government has stopped banning the X network after massive fires swept through the country, threatening the capital of Brasilia and the main city, Rio de Janeiro. It may have been just a coincidence, but shortly after Brazil stopped banning X, the fires miraculously calmed down. Authorities say most of the fires were arson. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.